finally getting into things going. Again, it's been a while since I've done a live stream, so let me get things going up on my end real quick. Mute, reset, pull it up on my laptop. You turkey. There you are. There we go. Okay. So basically, everyone that may not be able to come and see this right in the live view, you can definitely go ahead and rewatch this video. Basically, tonight is going to be a little different, as originally I was going to do a live stream last night under the name Madam Queen Monday, for obvious reasons we'll get to in a minute. But unfortunately, I had some very unexpected events happen yesterday to where I completely forgot about what I had originally scheduled for yesterday night. So here I am trying to recover a bit and actually go and produce something for you all to enjoy. Now I'm probably going to get overshadowed by bench trains over on Instagram, which is perfectly fine. I may end up switching over there depending on how things go for tonight, but that's all right. For now, what I've got going on is actually my Madam Queen model. As you can see, sticking with the Weathered Wednesday kind of ordeal, as I am finding that is to be some of the best content that I could produce live, at least. In this case, that's just the best way I can do. And also not be able to have to, well, basically, not be able to entertain you all and not have anything live going on, because right now I still have the layout torn apart on the main line, and also I don't know if the internet down here will be able to survive. Quick shout out, thank you, Massimo, apologies if I pronounce your channel name incorrectly, welcome. You know, why not go and do something a little different? Let me just go ahead and see if I can join Ben's live stream, because that should have started about 5 minutes ago. Let's just see what he's up to. And while, if I do get into his queue, we'll just wait, and in between, while waiting, I'll just continue to work on my Madam Queen and show y'all over what I've been doing on this engine and why in the world I've been talking about it for so many times. Oh goodness. No, let's see. Oh goodness, I don't do these social media stuff that often, so it gets a little bit. Let me think. It's Tuesday night, Train Talk Tuesday. Unless I'm already losing it. Oh, hello, Donnie Moody and Jason. Thank you very much for coming on in. Again, apologies for those who were expecting a live stream last night. I know somebody out there probably was, and I had that scheduled, but unfortunately, like I stated earlier, I had something happen over in the real world, and that unfortunately made me lose track of time completely. And then on top of that, me trying to remember what I did a month ago when I scheduled my first live stream last month messed me up. So what I had scheduled previously for today originally just didn't go so well. Oh, thank you, Donnie. I'm glad you enjoyed my videos. Apologies for not having so many out lately because of, well, I'm a college student, and being a college student, similar to, I believe, RJ's trains, the time of having fun for thyself is very, very finite. And when I do get some time, it'll either be trying to recover from whatever I've done less, or most importantly, what I've been doing here. So basically, let me get into. It looks like I'm not going to work into Ben's Instagram or social media tonight. It looks like I need to update something. So we'll just have a nice fun time out here for today. So this is my current project that I've been working on since, for about a couple months now. It is a custom model for myself on the Santa Fe's 5001, or not 5001, 5000 class, aka the Madam Queen. Now, as you can see, and if you know what's been going on, at least hobby-wise, there is no such thing as a model of the Madam Queen. Yeah, well, with my, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at chat. Yes, depending on the day, I kind of do with my glasses. If they were more round, I definitely would. These are more oval-shaped, so I'm kind of safe. I've never been called that, so. Yes, that. I've never been called that, so that's kind of strange. Yes, I haven't had a hair. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a haircut, so maybe a little bit like that, but, you know. Depends on the day. I get a little crazy and train crazy wise, so you never know. So basically, in the model world, there is no such thing as a third rail or three rail O-scale Madam Queen. Instead, MTH was the only company then, well, technically MTH was the only company that produced a 5001 and, well, semi-50 5001 and 5011 class Santa Fe 210-4 Texas types. The reason being I only say MTH is because they were the ones who went ahead and actually created the tooling, first produced them under PS2, and two variations, 5012, which what this locomotive once was, engine number 5012 with PS2, the first variation, and then there was a second run, number 5025, that had a different sound system, a different whistle, but it was still PS2. I think it was the second variation of the PS2 where they had gotten rid of the draw, or the cord in between the tender and the locomotive like the 5012 class had on this engine, and instead went directly to the wireless drawbar. Oh my. Oh, double my. 32 people now watching. I have never had that much. Give me... Oh, goodness. New favorite live discovered. Well, thank you, Vidar. Very much appreciate it. No, Christopher, I'm not. I'm just holding on to the boiler shell. Yes, yes, Harry, I'm just weathering locomotives and other stuff. No, I'm not that. Oh gosh, looks like I need to hire one of my friends and become a moderator, because this is already going off the rails as usual. Oh, anyways, so where was I? Oh yes, so 5012 class, I was able to pick this engine up on eBay for a really good deal. It wasn't operating at the time. I believe either the PS2 system battery either gave out, and so that's why it wasn't running, or it simply just gave the yeah, Harry, well, you know, I've been doing YouTube for going on 6 years, and I've had my fair share of a few people. Hello, mental raccoon glass. Nothing much, just having a bit of a unconventional live stream, because since I typically don't do them. So, figured I might as well just help out. Hello, Alex. Welcome, welcome. Well, you're definitely in the right place, Vidar. Just please, chat, don't be rude in the sense of, but also tell me when I'm talking too much, since I have the tendency of doing that. Thank you, Metal. Yeah, it's been a long time. Uh, I finally got myself monetized. The 4,000 watch hours system with YouTube has been a pain in my side, especially between personal health and school, so it just gets a bit AWOL with things. Uh, well, if I'm flamboyant, then so be it. Um, oh, sorry, y'all have some audio problems. Um, yeah, pretty much. Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. So, anyway, Madam Queen, what I've done is pretty much take a standard made locomotive and turn it into what I've done, aka kitbashing. And the locomotive boiler itself has seen the most dramatic change because originally the 5012 class had its number boards located up top behind the stack, and they were of a different design. I've got them stashed somewhere in a parts pile. Um, so in that case, when MTH cast these, they went ahead and molded in two pockets so that those marker boards can go ahead and fit in quite nicely, and had two holes for the incandescent bulbs to go into. So I had to use some JB Weld to fill that in, and after some hours of sanding and whatnot, it's finally gotten to a point where it's fairly smooth, and as you can see, you can hardly notice that there was even an indentation or even a gap for something with the paint that I've put onto it and also the weathering I've done. Most of the parts that I've done onto it or even taken off, for instance, the 5012s and also the 5001 class originally had a Worthington feed water heater instead of an Alesco. That was only the Queen. And as a result, they had a feed water pump for the water heater located underneath the running board on the fireman's side. So since that's not on the Queen, I ended up having to go and cut that out. And that was a pain in the rear because, well, it was cast into the actual boiler itself. So I ended up finding myself with more metal shavings all over the basement than I ever want to have ever again, and I'm still cleaning up after that mess. Again, used JB Weld, filled in imperfections, cutting in too deep, some places more places than others. And when it's on the chassis itself, you can hardly notice that I've basically cut up the original feed water pump, and now it's no longer there. Something else, all the detail parts, such as the new feed water pump, the 3461 class, 3460 class number boards, Let's Go feed water heater, standard stack, and a few other steam components as well. Oh, the cylinders and the front pilot wheel. Those were all standard stuff you can actually get from Lionel and MTH. Those were the two manufacturers that I went ahead and used. So, for instance, the feed water heater was Lionel. That was off of a Legacy Blue Comet. Funnel also from Lionel. That was from the 3751 class of Santa Fe Northerns. Good stuff. The motherboard, since MTH was the only one that produced a 3460 class, that's where I got that. Same for these couple other steam accessories and the cylinders. So it's turned into a hodgepodge of things. Going to the tender, this ended up being a complete fabrication on my own, as the engine itself originally came with a long haul tenders, I guess the best way to call it, long haul tenders, such as what the 2926 has in Albuquerque. So since the Queen currently has a 3751 class style tender, or the small version oil tender, I went on to Trains and was able to find a Lionel Legacy 3751 class tender. while I was online, I also went ahead and ordered some water hatches from Lionel for this tender shell because for some reason it didn't come with it. Scrounged with the original tender and grabbed some rear steps, put those on. That ended up working out quite nicely. And then for the lettering, that was actually quite interesting. I masked off the Santa Fe on both sides as the lettering was still fairly good, and I didn't want to go and try to re-decal the Santa Fe when it was already perfectly fine, as well as some of the stat boards such as the fuel capacity, water capacity. But for the decals themselves, 5000, I just simply painted over the original 37, I believe this was actually 3751 instead of 59 like my father's engine. And then I took some standard printer paper, went on to Microsoft Word, took a standard sheet, sized it up, and then cut it out and put them on here. I've done this before on my 0 and 30 locomotives, but 90% of those locomotives I hand painted with acrylic paint instead of using spray automotive paint and matte clear coat. So this was something new for me, considering this is a much bigger detail and I really wanted to make sure it was happy. And so far it looks pretty good. The weathering it's taken the weathering quite nicely since they were coated with Elmer's glue. But anyway, that worked out pretty good. The locomotive power-wise has got a DC can motor. In this case it's a Pitman, big beefy Pitman, and I'm currently working on the electronics still. In this case it's going to be the Electric Railroad Company's Cruise Commander board. I originally had a Line Chief Plus 2.0 Santa Fe Hudson, which is the remnants of this right now. And actually what started this entire project in the first place. The frame on this engine unfortunately was cracked and bent upward because the previous owner accidentally dropped the locomotive, so I couldn't fix it, and there was other problems that eventually popped up, so I figured, well, the running gear is bad, but why not use the electronics? So I did. And unfortunately that ended up being fried as I was doing a test, so I am now having to switch over to the Electric Railroad Company, which so far I'm still troubleshooting and is still quite a mess. But for now, I think just for the sake of keeping you all entertained, so to speak, I'll just take the tender and boiler shells off, and so I can have a little bit more control with weathering. And on this case, I've only done the fireman's side, so I can do the engineer side. And in this case, I've already done the base coat of the grime, and now I just got to do the streaking. And where's my paintbrush? There's my paintbrush, and where's my fresh streak? There's my fresh streak. Check in chat real quick. Oh, sorry people. Oof. Sorry, this has been trying to catch up real quick. Well, that is really neat, silly wizard, that your grandfather used to work on the railroad and then now for the BN, and I'm glad you enjoy my layout. So far, this is just the mountain end of things, so you aren't getting able to see everything. Ryan, Sean, no, I don't. 997, I'm trying to think. My friend may have that. He's got a lot of stuff that I just can't keep track. And me being a Steam guy, I can hardly remember what diesels he has. So I can't honestly answer that. I'll leave that to there. Yes, thank you, Bells. Thank you very much, Bells. Merry Christmas to you all. What caboose? Can we talk about the caboose, please? What caboose? I'm trying to think. What caboose do I have? What caboose? I've got way too many cabooses. I don't know about that one. Yes, I do. Slizzard. Oh, sorry. Slizzard Wizard. I can't see completely. Yes, I have, especially since the famous one that actually happened here in Texas ended up being the one that ended all of those self-proclaimed ending of funds crashing and the public and railroads making extra money on just the pure boredom of people and people wanting to see train wrecks in a safe manner. Nothing safe about two locomotives with 120 psi barreling across down a single stretch of track and end up colliding with each other and blowing up. I mean, there's nothing safe about that, especially the one that happened in Texas, here in my state. No, I haven't welded any of the stuff together. 90% of them are either JB welded together or used a bit of super glue with some JB weld attached to it. 90% of it is that. A few of the other parts I've been able to simply just drill directly into the boiler itself, because some of the parts were actually designed to go into the boiler and have a pin be bent over, similar to the handrails, a pin or tongue be bent over, and that's how it would be stationary. Now, a few of the parts I did have to JB weld on the inside of the boiler just to keep it there, but that's stuff you don't get to see, so who cares? Jack Bowman, hello. And then I have a Polina pre-order that I ended up with. Julian, I would have to say, depending on what kind of pre-war locomotive it is, Lionel made tons of pre-war locomotives, let's put it that way, as well as tons of post-war locomotives. Now, if it was but also at the same time, you have to take note that Lionel also went pretty crazy with variations. Variations upon variations upon variations. And because of that, because the total amount of variations Lionel made that created rarity, for instance, the the standard gauge Blue Comet with the 400E, the very first Blue Comet set wasn't even pulled by a 400E, the biggest, beefiest steamer that Lionel produced at that time. It was pulled by a 240 385E or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, number. I just know it had an E unit. And at the time, the locomotive was underpowered because Lionel was wanting to put these big Stephen Gerrard styled or state set styled passenger cars in the blue livery, and it just couldn't handle it. So they went ahead and made it beefier with the 400E. So because of that, there's different variations. There's different shades of blue. There are different, I mean, depending on what kind of pre-war locomotive you have, you can either have something that's fairly good and reasonable, or unfortunately you have something that's more along the lines of, I have a pretty cool shelf queen. Which is fine. It's perfectly fine to have a shelf queen. I love my 1938 1688E O-gauge set that I got from a garage sale that was a lady's father's train set, and she made me promise to never sell it, and I haven't thus far, and I will never sell it because, well, I'm a man of my word. But anyway, enough of that kind of stuff. Yes, you might as well, Vidar, you might as well. We've got nothing better else to do while I am over here just spewing away and not doing any weathering. So let's just get into it. In this case, I'm just doing the streaking since I've already done the base coat of the Loco grime. And what I use for the for my weathering paints, especially nowadays on these bigger locomotives, is the ammo products. Ammo products, they are primarily more well known for their military dioramas or World War II, World War I, whatnot, even into the modern era stuff. But they do produce a separate range for model trains. They found that people were interested in that, and so they started producing weathering paints. And my local hobby shop, about a couple of years ago, were contacted by Ammo to see, or Ammo was promoting a new promotion where those new hobby shops that do not have any ammo products can, specifically to trains, if they're interested, can receive a free display completely filled with their weathering and paint products. And so they went ahead and did go ahead completely free, and it has turned out to become quite a great asset for them, especially since they stock primarily O gauge, but this stuff you can use for anything. HO in scale if you can have the eyesight for it. So in my case, I don't. I like in scale. I think it's wonderful. I've seen plenty of wonderful in scale layouts. Nothing against those who run in scale. I just like the O gauge, and I've already invested way too deeply into O gauge to get anywhere else. Well, thank you. Yes, trains. It's only just part of it. For layout information, I've posted, there's a few old videos I've made that have kind of been a bit out of date, but not a lot of stuff has been happening on the layout to where to justify an actual new layout update video. So definitely either take a second and go and check out the layout tour videos I've made. I think one was about a year old. Then again, I can't remember since time flies when I'm doing college exams for engineering, so you never know what's going to happen. But at the same time, you can definitely see what the layout's like, how I've based it. In this case, it's based in not really a set time period. I'm more in the transition era to, I guess you could say, 60s into the 70s. Basically making this a safe haven for steam locomotives, since in this case the region is the Tennessee side of the Great Smoky Mountains, where the Santa Fe, keeping the momentum going with their tourist train out to the Grand Canyon, they decided to go out east into the Great Smoky Mountains, and in conjunction with the Pennsylvania Railroad, thanks to their partnership during the end of steam, where Santa Fe sent out a number of their 5001 and 5011 classes to help their J1s to 10-4 Texas when they found themselves in a power shortage during a sudden coal boom. Santa Fe decided, well, let's just expand our tourist reach, and since the Smokies were becoming a new booming destination thanks to Gold Rush Junction and Rebel Railroad before Gold Rush Junction, now currently Dollywood, they were able to successfully find a coal deposit and then build this little branch line. So basically the idea is that Santa Fe just created a tourist train. And then happened to also find some business within the Smokies. And now, here I am. More of that information, a few of the other stuff. Oh, I'm glad I was able to help. There is one thing you can get. It is the Greenberg's Price Guide. I don't know if the 2026 edition has come out yet. It may be in pre-order right now. So I know definitely this year's 2025 Price Guide book is available. Essentially is just a directory for locomotives being made from 1900 all the way up till, I would say, reasonably 2024, since a lot of the modern stuff either hasn't been made yet or it's just so new that the publication is, well, theoretically out of date already. But it's numerically created in that you can look it up based on pre-war, post-war, modern era, and then in the very back there's some sets, boxes, and then Lionel Corporation template, which is MTH's former creation of making Lionel standard gauge and O gauge template stuff. But that book is great. I have a lot. Let's see. Jason, thank you. Hello. Um, and then hello from South Carolina. Oh, G scale. I have a friend that does G scale, and my goodness, my goodness, he takes a lot of space during train shows, but it's all fun and games. Um, well, yes, James, yes. Well, I used to have mutton chops, just straight up mutton chops, and I had shaved in between, except for my mustache. And thanks to winter being here, I figured I need some more protection in the midsection. And right now, everything is pretty lopsided. Uh, Traditionally, railroaders at the time they wouldn't wear beards, maybe even not even a mustache, because well, if back flames would come out of the firebox door for some reason, then they get singed. So, but I like to have a warm face. And welcome, Red Dead Road. I am glad you have made it. How have you been doing? Um, yes. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would agree. It could definitely be turned into a modern-esque tourist railroad, especially since how you have modeled. That could definitely be turned into quite interesting. Uh, that could definitely be quite interesting to see have some Cumbres and Toltec or Durango and Silverton styled open air gondolas going around just with tourist trains. That would be pretty fun to see. And again, I do agree. I'm always justifying this to be on my own railroad because as it's your own railroad, you do what you want, and if somebody complains, then they could just simply just go out and scream to the air. And that's also the same thing with my Mountain Queen, because I can't do the sand dome. The sand dome was originally two sand domes the size of the 3751s, and since this sand dome is cast in to the body, I can't simply just cut it off and hope that I can refashion the curvature of the boiler and get a few of the details right. So I figured, well, let's just say the locomotive at some point in time got modernized to match her younger siblings, and henceforth, sand dome. And also the steam dome, because originally the Queen had a single dry pipe, and the safety valves were located askewed off to the fireman's side of the boiler. And again, molded in detail. I didn't want to cut that out, try to fill it in, get the profile of the boiler, and then find a safety dome or safety valve assembly. I have found them, but to get them fashioned to where it fits on this angled position is well, aren't you just a lovely individual? Goodbye. Thank you. I know. Thank you, Vidar. It's like. No, I just like trains. That's all. I just like trains. That's it. The end. Not everybody needs to be on the spectrum and have Asperger's or whatever they or autism, since Asperger's is no longer a thing. No, I just like trains. That's all, and happen to be a mechanical engineering student to then work on these trains. That's a misconception for trained folks, unfortunately. Um, Sounds like I need to get my friend to become a moderator, because if I'm gonna continue to become continue to do live streams like Ben, I'm most certainly going to need some friends to help me out, because I'm only a one band man, and it just gets a bit tedious. And this has only been the second live stream I've ever done. So, yes, it's been a lot of work. It's been about 2 months of work thus far, and I'm on the home stretch body-wise with the locomotive, of course. Weathering I like to weather my engines nowadays in rolling stock, which you can go ahead and do if you're a part of the OGR forum. I actually sell my weathering services on there. don't know the details off the top of my head, unfortunately. Sorry. So I mean, unfortunately, I just can't remember all the pricings I've done. But I think locomotives is $30 plus shipping. And retrospect, Harry Heike, the individual that does the weathering and custom detail work for Mr. Muffin's trains and Lionel. That's where he got his name stay. Ah, damn it. My brush did no. Turkey. What was I saying? Yes. He charges closer to $70-$80 per engine plus shipping, so I'm trying to be competitive, so to speak. Yeah, the train. Train channel. Yes, I do. 15 years of nonstop eat, drink, and breathe trains will do that to you. And me being of the generation where YouTube basically became a thing, give me one sec. Gotta clean up chat for a sec. Give me 1 second. Because some people just want to be people. Yes, some people. Gosh, all Friday. Yeah, I gotta get somebody. I gotta get somebody to help me. No, I don't have that. Turkeys. Yes, Red Dead, they do. They do. I have a friend I need to... I'm not going to bother him tonight. No, heaven's sakes, you don't, you turkey. You turkey? No. Yeah, trains are cool. Sorry. Anyways, back to weathering. So, as you can see, the streaking along the rivets, as well as some spillage over from the water hatches, of course, in this case, kind of replicating what I've done over here. And again, if I don't shake this stuff well, the sediment will... Thank you, Tattoo, you made it! Thank you. How are you doing? Yes, we're a living meme. Yes. Yeah, it's... Thank you, guys. Sometimes I can handle it. Some nights I'm pretty good about it, and other nights it just gets me, so we'll see how far I need to go before I need a cup of tea to bring me down. I'm glad you're here. Oh gosh, oh Friday, I just may need to block. I just may... Note to self, better prepare. Better prepare. There you go. Be gone. Yes, definitely brush it off. But yes. Okay, thank you. Yes, thankfully originally I didn't have fine motor skills when I was younger, so having them now has been a great blessing. Basically, that's pretty much it for the tender. There will be some rust, but that will be needed for the tender shell to blend in with the side frames, because trying to do weathering on its own without especially rusting points, especially along the frames, is not going to be pretty if I do it alone. So I'll just put you back there, old friend. And we'll just move over to the locomotive, since I can still use the fresh streaking dust on locomotive. And in this case, the fresh streaking is really what it states. It's just fresh water deposits that have basically just really streaked off immediately, and it's kind of been baked onto the locomotive boiler. Red Dead, yes. Yes, I do. I do. It is a shelf layout, actually, that is connected to the main layout just behind the camera. Let me see if... Beware, earthquake is commencing. And the mess as well, because I'm at a post-train show from Thanksgiving. As you can see, that is the 0-30 line. And right now, I'm going to work on redoing the trestle bridge that goes around the yard because I'm not quite happy with it. But as you can see, it's a single line, nothing too crazy, with a little town, and that genuinely is a tourist line. It's got no freight revenue other than what similar to the Cumbres, where there may be some photo charters and whatnot. So, yeah, you know. I'm not, well, I'll say I'm old enough to have fun. Yes, calcium dried up. In this case, one of the things I also like to enjoy with my modeling, especially in the weathering department, is something that what is his name? Oh, Jack Wheelahan. He is actually, I believe he's still a senior card holder to senior fireman on the Southern Pacific Daylight number 4449. I can't remember exactly, but then again, time has gone by. He works with Doyle McCormick, and the main man who actually went ahead and restored 4449. So, you know. Anyway, something I've learned from him in the sense of one of his videos he did through TM Books and Video was the calcium deposits. Every location along the railroad had different kind of mineral deposits within their water when they would wash their locomotives. And if the locomotives were still hot, well, that's gonna... Oh, thank you, Tattoo. Thank you. That is very gracious of you. That is very gracious of you. Thank you very much, Tattoo. I'll definitely be coming to your live stream tomorrow. If my last final exam, Thermodynamics 1 doesn't knock me off the block first. We'll see. We'll see. Yes, shine on to you too. I dressed myself. If you don't like it, who cares? It's better than my coveralls. So this is my own liking. I don't like belts. I've worn belts through grade school for school, and I just lost favor in it. So I like to wear suspenders, and these are my newest pair actually. But back to trains. Y'all keep getting me out of control. But basically, the calcium deposits, depending on if you have hard water or less hard water and what kind of mineral deposits you have, can definitely affect the variation in the weathering, especially the surroundings, such as tunnels. The more tunnels a railroad has, the more soot and carbon buildup will be on top of your rolling stock and also on your locomotives, of course, because, well, as the locomotives are going through the tunnel, the soot and whatnot's hitting the roof, and then just simply stay there until it gets shook by another passing train and collapse onto the train as it goes by. And in that case, since I have 5 tunnels on my layout, I have I have a ton of tunnels. No, hold on. 5, 6, 7. I forgot 2. Excuse me. Since I have a ton of tunnels, and 90% of my rolling stock is actually steamers that are coal burners, minus a few oil burners, such as the Queen, my Southern Pacific GS2, which is actually not there. It's there, and oh, forgot about it. My Southern Pacific Harriman version. Yes, Harriman Consolidation, Team CC. Yes, I know, Long. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm trying to get the old train going. I don't have it running right now. Hopefully, before Christmas, I'll have it running. That's my personal goal, to have it running before I either go back into the spring semester and whatnot. But thank you, Candar, our custom models. Thank you very much for that. That is greatly appreciated. Never in my wildest dreams would I be thinking I would be doing anything like this in my life, and yet here I am, thanks to a friend of mine who does this on with video games, and yet here I am with the internet to either bother me or enjoy the content I produce, because this is the most I've had actually come and watch, especially considering since Ben should be maybe wrapping things up. But yes, thank you, Tattoo Trains and Candar Customs. That is just mind-boggling to me, considering I'm just a small content creator that just tries to help people out. That's all I try to do. I try to give people an idea of what the hobby is like. Of course, there's always going to be those bad apples, and you can't get away from them, unfortunately. But there are still some great people out there, such as Tattoo Trains, just coming out here, being an individual who just tries to be here to have fun, play with trains, and that's how I try to be. If I ever become snob-nosed, too big for my own britches, y'all have permission to kick my britches, because I don't ever want to become that. I want to be as humble as I can be, and I want to just be able to help people and get into the hobby the best way possible. Unfortunately, it's just kind of getting a little harder, not because of all the economical stuff, but at least in the O-gauge field, we already were hard-pressed in the sense of size, but now we're being hard-pressed even further because the main manufacturer, Lionel, is being a bit subpar in their quality and communication with those who actually make the hobby great. And it sounds like one of my... well, no, both of them have come down. Yes, I will definitely join y'all. Probably just via the chat, guys, because, again, like I said, I'll probably be wiped out after my final exam. Even though it starts at 10:30, I believe it is a 3-hour exam that will last till well into the afternoon. So there's going to be a lot of information, and I've been studying for it for most of the day. So we'll see how well that goes. I probably will join y'all just to blow off, pun intended, blow off some steam with y'all and just enjoy the evening. Because why not? That's just the whole fun bit of the hobby itself. Just being able to sit down, relax, and enjoy trains. Historically, our nation was built on trains, and even the nation that founded trains, England, is still heavily based on trains. So you just can't get rid of them, and they just hold such an important part in being able to talk to people, meet people, go to train shows, just being able to learn some new skills, maybe get some tips and hints on how to do this, that, or get inspiration. It's just what's so great about the hobby, and that's what I hope to strive to produce when I produce these videos for you all, especially my product review videos, which have seen some lackluster attention due to, well, school and whatnot. It's basically just to give you folks who work hard like me, that are interested in the hobby and are trying to find an engine or something that you would like to have, but don't know whether or not it would be a worthy purchase, especially in the world of quality. Right now things are just a bit out of hand, and now having people just simply say, oh, this is a great model, you need to go and buy it, when in reality there are faults and they don't go and call it out when they probably ought to, it just sometimes gets a bit dragged down and makes the hobby look bad in some instances. I do make mistakes. I've made mistakes many times, and I hope I'm able to correct them as quickly as I can. But the fun part about the hobby is if you got great people, they'll call you out. That's what friends do. Um, and they'll also help you out as well. It's not like they're going to beat you down and keep you there. So that's the great thing about it. And that's what I hope to do here as well. I just want the best for the hobby. That's all. Because I've grown up and been doing it for so long. Started off with my dad's set, a 1974 through 76 Santa Fe Alco FA and FB set, starter set, so the NPC era. He didn't run it very much due to how he grew up in his childhood. So it's basically still pristine to this very day. I've got it over here underneath the workbench on its shelf right now. Maybe I'll bring that out on make a video specifically for it, because it's really what got me started at the age of 3, and then the Polar Express came out when I was actually older than the Polar Express, which is kind of sad to say. Celebrating, what is it, 21 years, yeah, 21 years last month. Okay, yes, I'll do that. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Wilson, shout out to you. There you go. Yeah, well, I'm still learning. So let me just go ahead and fix a few things so that you all can actually go and see what I'm doing. Still learning everything, how to make things better for you all. Let's see, where is it? There you are. There you go. How's that better? Much better. Much, much better. Maybe one more. One more down. There we go. Yeah, well, I still have my Polar Express. I started with the engine, and then now I have, give me a sec. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars on the shelf, and then I think I have 3 more underneath the mountain. So I've got a few as well, a few passenger cars, and then I've also got the Scale Polar Express. I can't remember the type. I can't remember the type of caboose it is, but it's a scale caboose when Lionel was going pretty hog wild and doing pretty darn good on the scale products. Not outside of the Polar Railroad. The Polar Railroad was one thing, but this is the actual Polar Express livery and name. Something totally different. Give me one sec. Oh, N5B caboose. So in this case, it's seen some days. I can't remember what year it came out. I want to say 2017 maybe. No, 2015. Built by Lionel. 2015. It's got a smoke unit for the stack. It's actually a really good smoker. Not that kind of smoking. And it's really nicely detailed. I love this caboose. I need to get it out for Christmas for sure. I love this caboose. I need to rent one. But I don't, because I don't think about it as often as I need to. Yeah, I know. I need to make it. I'm still learning. Yeah, I hope so too, Gunnar Marks. I hope so too. But I also still have my original Polar Express set. It actually was originally just the locomotive. My parents got me the locomotive, and then my birthday was just a few months later, or a couple months later. And then they surprised me with the hot chocolate car. So the locomotive was actually a 2004 original release locomotive, and it still kicks. I've only had to replace the traction tires once, and I've almost ran the life out of that engine more than I want to admit to, because, well, at the time, it was the only big steamer I had, and not to mention the only steamer I had for the longest time. So, of course, I'm going to run it. And as a result, that's just led me down the slippery slope of madness of model railroading, as they say. You just can't have one. You gotta give. You gotta get. If you get one engine, you need to get it a friend. If those two engines start arguing with each other, you need a third one just so that you can break up said argument. That whole little meme is very much quite the best explanation I can give for things like collecting model trains, because they just don't end with one. They end up being multitudes. For instance, the ON30 layout, I had originally started with a starter set, a Bachmann starter set, one of the early first releases, the Pennsylvania Flyer, or whatever Bachmann called it at that time, just with the standard little 260 three passenger cars with an oval track and whatnot. Great engine. I love it. It's actually one of my best performers, ironically. The oldest of the fleet, and it's the best performer. And then in the next week later, my friend that has all the diesel locomotives, he had one that was a Hawthorne, or one of those pay by month, get one item a month kind of subscription places. Hawthorne Village, that's it. 4th of July, patriotic, red, white, and blue. Had eagles, monuments, everything, everywhere on that engine, and passenger cars as well. And he wasn't using it. He was actually had it in his for sale pile, and he never got it sold. So I made a deal with him, and now I've turned it into my second locomotive. And then a third locomotive showed up, and it's like, my gosh, they're spawning like rabbits. And thus my little empire of ON30 turned into a mighty fleet of 3 locomotives, two Bachmann 260s, a Broadway Limited, yes, Broadway Limited Imports produced ON30 locomotives for a very, very short time, 1 year. In 2004, with the C16, so the DNRGWs, or was it the Colorado and Southern? I can't remember. I can't keep track anymore. I'll get to you in a minute, Red Dad. I haven't forgotten about you. I won't forget about you. Yeah, everybody's got their own addictions and all things. Yeah, this one's one of the better ones. Depending on the month, business-wise, so to speak. So basically, 3 locomotives. Let me think. 5 passenger cars, 2 of them are combines. What else do I have? I've got a flat car caboose, boxcar, ventilated boxcar, and a maintenance away train. That includes that are all disconnect cars, so they're single bogeyed, as the British would say, or single truck assemblies. But right now the weathering is looking pretty good, actually. Got a little there, but that's fine. That'll be just some washover from the whistle. Let's see. Probably the next thing I need to do is this steam outlet. See if I need a little bit more. To answer your question, Red Dead, I kind of don't remember, actually, which is sad, because the layout is split up into 2 sections. The mountain section, or the skinny section, I know that's 4 feet wide, and I want to say close to 20 some odd feet long. I can't remember exactly. It's been a few years since my father and I built this thing. And then the main section, which is the bigger area where the return loop for the ON30 layout runs on, that's actually, I want to say 17 feet wide by another 20 feet, 30 feet long, I want to say. I can't remember. Left-handed railroad, hello. I want to say it's about that long. I know it's big enough to, at one point, the design, we ended up having to actually make an extension, like a foot-long extension wide, just so that I can have the main line out and it not end up crossing over the yard loop, because the yard loop is 072 curve, so it has a 72-inch radius, and that can fit all of my big articulated locomotives, and then soon this engine, since the 10 drivers really need 72-inch curves because it's a stiff-legged turkey, so definitely needed something wide. And then all the other curves around the layout, so the mountain section or the main line is 036, so 36-inch radius. And the reason, hindsight, I wish I did a little bit bigger, like 042, or maybe even try to stretch 054, because then that would have allowed a lot larger locomotives to go in there instead of semi-scale stuff, or even just consolidations, 10-wheelers, and a few other bunch. But again, as I've learned in my engineering classes, one of the things that we have to consider as engineers is constraints. And constraints can be anything from budget, size, and material cost, or whatever it can be. And in this case, space is the problem. And that's why HO is becoming the #1 size right now, being tailed by N-scale, because, well, simply put, N-scale is much smaller. It's one of the smallest you can get while still being able to use your own natural eyesight and not have to worry about, oh, did I just accidentally drop my engine onto the floor? Did I lose it amongst my pocket change? But small enough that you can still have cities upon cities in one little in one sitting, and have fun. Like, I could have probably a couple of branch lines, 2 main lines with 2 different road names going along in this basement alone, and probably even HO, but in N-scale most definitely, just because it's how small it is. But since I grew up with O-gauge, and I just never looked back growing up with O-scale, and also thanks to a few friends that saw my passion and basically said, "Here, boy, here's my trains. You have them," and it just blew up from there. It's good to have people, good to have friends, and needless to say, things just continued. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. I've already had to rethread the bell cord twice, and I don't want to rethread it again. I'm glad you like it, left-handed. To answer your gunner mark, your question, paintbrushes. That's it. Since we're in a basement, I've only got one ventilation air vent down here, so because of that, there's not really a large access for dirt to get down here in the first place, and thankfully the home is foam insulated, so it's fairly well made. But paintbrushes. This used to be my dusting brush, but then I started weathering with these weathering paints, and it basically just turned into my blending brush, because dabbing with a Kleenex is all fine and dandy, but you don't want that texture to leave there, and you also want to be able to pull stuff down, pull the staining down to make it look like it's naturally being drawn towards the ground via gravity. So no, my reference books didn't have anything going on in the front. That's pretty much it, actually, ironically. Well, there's a few washout plugs. I'll do some of the washout plugs then. Or no. I'll do the old streaking for the washout plugs, because having leaky washout plugs with constant streaking, like with this fresh streaking does, would not be good at all. So I'll do the old streaking. But basically just paintbrushes. That's all I use. Typically it doesn't get too bad down here, so I'm blessed with that. But if I do projects where I'm cutting something, like cutting the feed water injector on the side of this boiler shell, then yeah, a lot of dust got kicked up, and I also had to do some dusting, some sanding of, what was it, the Homosoap board, which is my sound deadening board for the layout on the main section. And you could also see it right here where it's between the
foam that I use for this scenic section, and then also the plywood. So I've got Homosoap right here, and just continues along as the base point, because I didn't do the old-fashioned, or I did the old-fashioned version of building bench work. I didn't go fancy and use L-girder designing, because in this case I honestly didn't want to do L-girder, which in hindsight, again 2020, I kind of wish I did do L-girder, because it would have made the gradients a lot neater, instead of what I've done, which is just doing the hardcore math, blocks of 2x4 wood, cutting them down to the right size, and then putting a slab of plywood underneath. That's what originally used to be here. This used to be one continuous mountain, and I decided to have fun with this post-war bridge for years, and most use, so I figured, let's use it. Let's get it out from underneath the layout. Let's use it, and so and I'm glad I did. It's turned out quite nice. I do have to fix a few of the trees. They keep falling off as usual, due to how I modeled the texture of the terrain. I used some 10-plus-year-old plaster of Paris that I had from my very first official layout, and that stuff just great texture. That's what did the concrete simulation, but yeesh, it does not like it does not like my glue. Ah, you turkey! Stop it! My brush has gone rogue. Ah, that's fine. A little dirty here and a little dirt there is fine. Literally. Basically, streak it a little here, streak it. You turd. You know what? Let me just put you in your cup. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. See? Perfectly fine. Sometimes I do feel like Bob Ross. Happy mistakes. There are no mistakes. It's just going with the flow. Because that's really what this is. You're just essentially just going and making mistakes look like they're meant to be there. So in this case, a lot of washout plugs got a little weepy at one point in time. None of the trees I've done, thinking of Bob Ross, thinking of him, no, I haven't done any of those trees, making happy trees. A lot of them I purchased. Most of these are Woodland Scenics or from Amazon, just something cheap. Because in this case, for a layout of this size, bulk trees are my friend. And if I don't have bulk trees, then I am not able to fill up a scene. For instance, my Owen 30 Mountain, Red Hill, as I've aptly named it, it's what separates the town from the rest of the scene. I was able to use some scenic tips and whatnot to break scenes from one perspective to another, so it looks bigger than it really is, since it's only just a single line from the top, from an elevated point of view down to a river area. Ooh, oh well, you're just gonna be left there. I'm not gonna do you. I'm not gonna do that washout plug. That one's gonna be a bit much. And I'll do the fresh staining for the throttle valve, because that typically gets whitened, since that's how it usually does it. Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, yes, I do have to step onto the layout itself. I do have a hidden hatch inside the mountain. That's the only hidden hatch I've got. Unfortunately, that's one of the things I wish I made different about this layout. Whether it be smaller and be able to walk around it somewhat so I can reach things on the farthest edge, or have a dedicated hatch so that I could get into the interior of it. But unfortunately, the bench work and how the town was laid out, how I laid it out, it there was no opportunity for me to put a hatch in there. So I have to physically use the stool I'm sitting on to get up on the layout and deal with whatever is going on there. Thankfully, I can go underneath the layout through the hatch and get into the layout or get onto the layout via the mountain hatch. But yeah, it's not the funnest, but it works. And yes, it has been dedication, quite some dedication, but it's been fun. Thankfully, again, like I said, I've had some great people that have helped me along. Those that wish they'd been able to do what I'm doing right now, even when I was younger, and they just saw the potential that was within me. So they were very much fostering. They very much fostered me into what I am now. And honestly, what I've been doing with just weathering alone is just been trial and error. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't look good. Got to start over, got to hope you can start over, and just keep on going. Like I originally started with using dry brushing techniques with straight up home acrylic paints, and that was fun. And it looked pretty good for the time until I got these paints, and then it just completely blew everything out of the water, as they should, because these are specifically for weathering. It's been great thus far. Definitely would recommend ammo. Yeah, that looks good. Nothing too dramatic, but just enough. And the only reason why I've got the steam dome all covered in white calcium deposits with fresh streaking is because I've actually got a book by Sam Teague, the man who actually moved the Madam Queen from the Amarillo Depot to her current location. He's the only individual that's published a book about the Queen and all of its history, how it was built. Okay, thank you, Red Dead. Thanks, I'm glad you were able to make it. Yes, I'll see if my friend who does this, who definitely knows how to do the ins and outs of live streams, I'll definitely see if he can work with me on a schedule and definitely do something. But again, the last time I did a live stream was a month ago, so Lord knows when I'll be coming back and doing another one. But yes, I'll definitely get one of those, get a moderator, and I'll see if he can't help me. He did it the very first time I did a moderator, as a moderator. And Adrian, it's a locomotive boiler. That's what it is. Me weathering a locomotive boiler that I've custom made into what it is nowadays. But thank you again, Red Dead, for coming in. And I'll definitely see you again. Maybe I'll see you if you end up going into Tattooed Trains live stream. Maybe I'll see you in there tomorrow night. And if I even make it into there. Just depends on the night, especially since really I'll probably be ending the live stream here in a minute, because I've been going on for about an hour, and that's about as long as I can stand talking continuously these days. I'm not a public speaker, yet here I am on the social media. What the irony. How much irony can I fit into one night? I don't know. But that was a very interesting boost of adrenaline from people at the beginning, with all the lovely individuals of the internet, sarcasm engaged. Again, if you can hear my voice just slowly dimming a little bit, that's because it's slowly telling me that I've had enough communication for today, so please turn off the live stream and let me go to bed, basically. But I will here in a minute, since I'm almost done weathering the locomotive, actually, and I need to let it dry. It takes about 24 hours for this paint to dry quite nicely. Before I forget, what I was going back to, the steam dome, Sam Teague's book, The Madam Queen, the only publication of the locomotive itself. He did a great job. He even made some CAD designs of the locomotive. He went out to the engine, did one-on-one measurements, and was able to make CAD designs for it. And he has a photograph, a historical photograph that I found quite interesting, where it had fresh calcium streaking along the side of the steam dome. I don't know why. There was so much white streaking, or fresh water streaking around the steam dome, considering the dome itself is superficial, unless the dome cap leaked underneath the dome cover. But beyond that, I don't know. Yes, it's a train. It's a train. Yeah, I don't know. Um, anyway, I think that's going to be it for tonight. Hello, Strasbourg number 90. Welcome very much to the channel. I think that's going to be enough for me tonight, as my voice is just about had it. And also, it's getting late, and I've got my final exam in the morning. I need to get to. So, thank y'all very much for coming into the live stream, joining me tonight. Hopefully, I'll be able to see y'all again tomorrow at one of my other fellow YouTubers, Tattooed Trains. He does live streams every Wednesday evening, so I'll definitely probably be in there in the chat. I don't think I'll join him in any way, shape, or form, but I'll definitely be in the chat possibly. You owned Reading and Northern 425. Now that is a story I'll definitely need to be saved for tomorrow. Please, Strasbourg, if you make it into there. Good night to everyone. Merry Christmas, and y'all all stay well. Maybe I'll be back next week. Who knows? Anyway, TrainMaster04. I'll see y'all later.